Alright, Crimea Mechanical. What else do we have in here? Ooh, Albion Industrial is hard. Nordic Engineering is powerful if nobody interferes with what you're doing, and Rusviet Patriotic is a coin machine. Alright, we'll see what happens here. Nordic's a really good player. We'll see what he does. It's engineering. We've got a good Crimea Mechanical strategy. It's a powerful combination with a lot of coin production. See if it keeps up with Rusviet Patriotic in this game and the economy of Nordic Engineering. See what we've got for... Oh, gee whiz. We can't get either one of these objectives. Workers' balanced workforce is terrible. Slows. We'd have to move a worker to here. Trade produce. And that's 4 turns, and we don't even have additional workers. We don't want to build with mechanical. It's too slow with Crimea. Nordic started with oil. That's a good first move. He's sandwiched between Rusviet and Albion, which is going to slow him down and make things more difficult. Okay, we're gonna produce. We're gonna produce, trade, produce for our first 3 turns. First thing you want to do with Crimea generally is get to this combat card Enlist and get your combat cards off of it so you can begin using your faction ability. We can get there fastest with this map by producing a food, trading for 2 more food, and then producing the 4th food and getting the Enlist. So that's what we'll start off doing. Ooh, that's a bold play. Staking claim to Albion's village. You can bet Albion regrets not moving initially. Now. It's too early to tell with Rusviet. Pretty much every Rusviet strategy starts with producing twice. So, Albion got rally. What he would have liked to do this turn is move this worker to here and then put his character straight on that encounter. But without that village, maybe he's going to move this worker or this worker to here and go straight for this encounter. Or he might start moving toward here to bump this worker. No, he's going to go for the encounter. Now this is a good first enlist for Albion because he starts with no combat cards. So, let's see how much coin he has. He has enough coin to go for it. And that would get him a combat card enlist and his initial combat cards. He went for popularity instead of his combat cards. So Nordic's real fortunate here that Albion's decided to just live without his village. Because if Albion had just moved toward here and bumped these workers, that sets Nordic back substantially. Is Rusviet going to go 5 or 8 workers? We're probably about to find out. Looks like 5. Alright, now we're going to get our first enlist. Always do combat cards. Always get combat cards. Nordic's going with a 3-worker strat. That's interesting. Expected him to trade for oil, which would allow him to upgrade on his next 2 produces. Because he'd have the 2 oil, get an oil, upgrade since it just costs 2, get an oil, upgrade since it just costs 2. Hey, Rusviet is going 8 workers. It's interesting. Okay, we need a mech now that we have workers here and we want to move them. With the mechanical mat, since produce is over enlist, we're going to want to go 5 workers here. So we have combat cards and they're bad. So we're going to get 2 metal here. So the next turn we can use this metal and coercion to use a combat card as our 3rd metal and get a speed mech. What that's going to do is that's going to allow us to distribute our workers. Probably 3 on food, because that puts us 1 short, and 2 on metal, which also puts us 1 short, and then we just use cards for both of these. Nordic wants these upgrades. He's probably doing pretty well though. Yeah. It's getting a good bit of coin from the upgrades. Alright, Rusviet, you ready to build the mech yet? Yep, finally. What do you think, guys? Speed or river walk? River walk. It's good news for us. We're going to need combat cards. Okay, because he's doing river walk, that means he's going to move to the farm. That means he's going to do enlist, which means we can go for the power star, which is wonderful news for us because we're going to need that power star to get to 6, because we can't get an objective in this game. Let's go see what's happening in poor Albion's world. Axel Prototype here is a very creative player. It's always fun to see what he's going to do. I told him that half the time his strategies just look like nonsense to me, but somehow they end up working. I think he's going to upload some videos soon too, so he'd be worth checking out. Alright, Rusviet, go for the farm. Prove me right. There it is. And his produces over the list action, so we'll be getting cards from him pretty soon. This worker distribution is interesting. I've never quite seen that with Rusviet Patriotic. We'll have to see how well it works for him. Okay, remember we want 3 workers here, because that plus a card gets us an enlist, and 2 here because that plus a card gives us an enlist. Basically in this we're looking for either popularity, try to get to tier 2, or something that's going to save us turns or save us cards. So that's pretty weak. 2 coin is nice, but 1 popularity doesn't do anything for us. The enlist bonus plus that 1 would just get us to 6. If we get this encounter, there's a chance we get to 7. We could pay 2 popularity to enlist 1 recruit, but we've got to produce each time we deploy, so that doesn't save us a turn. So let's go for the 4 metal here. We still have 3 mechs to build, so 3 of those metal are going to save us cards. Got to watch our time here. We're a little bit lower than everybody else. And here's where Rusviet hopefully gives us our first card from Enlist. See how Nordic's economy is doing. Not bad. We haven't really started ramping up ours yet though, so we'll get more coin pretty soon. So what Rusviet is doing, you might wonder why they have 5 workers here when they just need 3. And I think what their goal is to stockpile 2 every enlist action. So by the time their 3 enlists end, they can move off food, and then for the last enlist produce something else, which may mean they're planning on doing another bottom row action like moving to upgrades or moving to wood, but that would be an odd choice seeing as they get no coin for buildings. Okay, even though we have metal, we're still going to produce here. We got a card from Rusviet. Next turn we're going to trade 2 oil, use a card for the 3rd to get an upgrade, and we're going to upgrade our bolster. And bolster and our enlist. And that will actually mean we probably don't need coercion anymore between the encounter and the upgrade. Which coercion is powerful, being able to spend a card to get a resource. But not using it means you stockpile cards, which is going to make combat easier, as we are going to need 2 combat stars. We're going for the power star, that's 1. We're going for the mech star, that's 2. And lists are going to be 3. We can't get an objective. So 2 combats for 5, and then the worker star gives us 6. And we don't have much flexibility there at all. These are not obtainable. This would take forever. This would take even longer. This is not going to happen. I mean, our stars are kind of set at this point. This is when it would be nice if Saxony was in the game, because really no one can mess with Nordic right now. Rusviet cannot invade their peninsula. Albion has chosen not to interfere and is forever away. So what we say we're going to do an upgrade. Rusviet did not give us a card that turn. That's okay. So we're going to upgrade the bolster and the enlist. And we get no coin for that. Albion's just trying to make the best of things. Nordic's upgraded his buildings down to 1. He's got 5 workers. He moved with no food on the ground, so that's another action without a BRA, bottom row action. So it's good. The more he does that, the better. You need a certain number of bottom row actions to end the game, and it varies depending on how many BRA stars you get. Nordic Engineering usually gets the upgrade star, the build star, and the enlist star. Usually goes for 3 BRAs, or 3 bottom row stars. Rusviet could go popularity here and make a play for tier 2, which is their best bet, probably. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. It's a good encounter for them. Okay, now we're going to start bolstering and we're going to get our mechs. Down to 1 card. We're not going to use it because we have 3 more mechs to get. That's 9. We're going to have 2 more produces. That's 10 metal. So we're not going to run out of metal. Get Riverwalk second, so if we decide to leave the base, we can. See what Albion's going to do here. Based on how they've played so far, I guess they're going to trade. No, we're going to get an Albion move. Okay, what's their power situation? It's high, but they have no cards. But we just have the 1 card, and we need the power star. So attacking them and trying to snag a combat's not an option at this point. Be interesting to see if Nordic builds a mine pretty soon. I know this guy, and he likes to, when he goes Nordic engineering, he likes to try to get a combat star, build the mine, and bring the character out to get it. It's another upgrade. It's going well for him. A lot of his points are coming from being spread out. So when you see this, the difference here is likely to not be that much mid to late game. So add 6 to our score. This similarly, well, there's not much difference there. So even though we're down by 14, it's more like being down by 8. So we made a mistake. We should have gone power for our second enlist instead of coin, because that would have given us 1 power. Because what's gonna happen is we're gonna produce right here, get an enlist, we're gonna bolster, and that's gonna get us to 13. But then when we enlist for the 4th time, it's gonna put us at 12, and the last bolster is just gonna put us at 15. That sets us back a turn. So what we need to happen is we need to get lucky, and we need to get a power off an upgrade. We're going to get lucky. I was just going to say Albion needs to bolster 1 more time for the power star, and their bottom row action on that bolster is oil, so they might trade for oil before they get the power star, and sure enough, that's what they're going to do. So Albion is going to bail us out in a major way. Rusviet's only got 1 enlist. That's good for us. I mean, it just means their economy is not running as quickly as it could. Alright, got a 2. That doesn't help us much. Scout's going to be our 3rd. Should be starting to amass some coin now. Again, it's this 4 points right here from the building bonus, plus this 8-point difference that explains the 12 points we are off the lead. Next encounter, so 1, 2. It's probably going to build a building there to pick up an extra next to encounter, and if he builds a building there, that'll be another one. It's probably all he can get without moving workers out of his home base area, so that's 3. It means that building bonus probably isn't going to get any bigger. How's he coming along on that power star? It's not there yet. But we see here that Albion went for the power star and did their upgrade. Alright, time for our first star here. And we'll get the coin bonus. That should have been a nice little increase for us. Yeah, see, now we're only 5 off the lead. We pulled ahead by 3 coins. And that's coins we're holding. We're obviously not winning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, he's still got enough to... Nordic's still got 3 spaces to build buildings. Can't build one this turn. Good to see Albion slowing them down, though. The next thing we're wondering about is Rusviet going to try to build some buildings? Albion's just going for revenge right now. Wonder if Rusviet has gotten the popularity yet off the Enlist bonus. And whether he's going to consider bumping these workers and hemming Nordic in. Yeah, I don't think he's building buildings. Okay, he had already gotten the popularity, which we probably could have figured out based on the fact that he's been producing with 8 workers. There's the power star. And there is the mech star. We're at 3. Rusviet's currently just unassailable. But our next play here, we want to move these workers to this village. And if we couldn't hit anybody, we might move the character to the encounter. But seeing that Albion's sitting right there, sure, he's loaded on power, but we're going to steal his only combat card. We'll attack him next turn while we set ourselves up for the worker star. Okay. Would have liked to have caught Nordic by now. Rusviet's at 5 pop. Alright, here we go. Albion still just has 1 card, so we're going to get this combat pretty cheaply. We're going to take a mech, leave a worker to start spreading out for more territories. Going to steal his 1 card. 2 5s, we're going to keep them both because we can. In case we have to go into like double combat with Rusviet, which is probable considering they have People's Army. Rusviet usually doesn't leave solo mechs on the board. If Rusviet is smart here, they'll attack us with the capacity to play 2 combat cards. Because what we're going to do, if no one stops us, is we're going to produce next turn. Which is going to give us the worker star, and then the next turn we'll move and we'll just hit Albion again. Take his only card. Use our other move action to move to the factory with this guy if it's still available, or just spread out. Spread out if it's not. Unless Albion just moves everybody over there, and then we can't reach him. That's good news. And that's wonderful. So now if Rusviet attacks us here and bumps us back to base, we can still reach Albion with two different mechs. Alright. And let's put a metal there. Albion can't move, so he can get out of the way. Rusviet's got to move here and here. Here and here. And do a double combat and beat us both with People's Army. I'll have to give up the power star to do it, but it's his only way of keeping me from ending the game. If he does that, I'll be glad that I saved my 2 5s that he doesn't know I have, because I'll turn around with this mech and go here to there. And probably with my character, because why not, go there to there. Or this space, either one, doesn't matter. And at that point we'll probably win the game. Nordic knows I'm ending the game this time. Let's see what he does. Rusviet's still at 6 pop. It's just going to give him 5 coins if he trades for a popularity, so let's see what he does. He's got to find a way to keep me from ending the game. Not it. See how good Nordic engineering is? He's gotten his workers bumped, he's gotten hemmed in, and he's still going to get second place here. If we cut 3 5s, that's all we need there. And let's take the factory for good measure. Poor Albion. Gain 2 power, doesn't matter. Always use the minimum power you need because it's a tiebreaker after units. That is if you're ending the game with a combat. Use the minimum power you need. And that is game. That is mechanical Crimea in 16 turns. And we got the W. Thanks everybody for watching. We will see you again. So catch you later.